Welcome back to my channel. Warning: secrets they don't want you to know. Don't make over 100 senses. This is one of the most controversial books ever written, and if you read it, they will come for you. People who have tried to expose this book have mysteriously gone missing or worse, and if you even look at its pages, you might just die. It has been banned for over 2,000 years, yet people still tried to get their hands on it. Like the man who paid $1 million for a single page from its ancient text. So what makes this book so dangerous? What secrets does it hold that are so scary? Let's find out in today's episode of Fake Tank Facts. The first thing you should know about this book is that there are actually two versions of it. The original was called the Book of Enoch, but because that sounded too similar to a certain children's show, the title was changed when it was published in English. It was split into two parts, one Enoch and two Enoch. However, I will be referring to it by its original title because I don't want to confuse this with that children's show. Anyway, let's talk about the content of this book. It contains details about an ancient civilization that lived before the time of the biblical Adam and Eve. In fact, it says that they lived at a time when the earth was formless and void. According to the author, these were the giants who roamed the earth during those days. These are the giants, the sons of God, who came and had relations with the daughters of men, and they bore children. Their offspring were the heroes of old, the men of renown. However, unlike the Bible, the Book of Enoch doesn't say that these giants were killed off in a great flood. In fact, it says that the giants survived the deluge and hid themselves away in the mountains and forests of the earth where they lived secretly among humans without being known. This may sound ridiculous to some, but according to the book, they are still around today. In fact, it says that the Nephilim survived to this very day, disguised as humans. The author says that the only way to avoid being deceived by them is to know what they look like. Here's what he writes: "Know then their appearance, lest thou be deceived when they come to deceive thee." He then goes on to describe what they look like. They are dwarfs, short of stature, 4 cubits and a span, having no beard, round-headed, flat-nosed, shameless, impudent, having eyes like coals and flashing swords, their faces like the face of vultures, and swift as a bird. And they fly, and they walk upon the earth. Okay, so basically we need to watch out for small guys with beards. But these aren't the only giants mentioned in the text. There are others who didn't survive the Great Flood, such as the Anakim. The author describes them as hairy giants who were 15 cubits tall. Now for anyone who isn't a member of the Lojban nation, that's about 7 feet tall. According to the Book of Enoch, these giants lived in Bashan, which is located in modern-day Syria. Today, there are ruins in this area that appear to be from a massive civilization that once lived there. But the mainstream narrative says that the civilization wasn't inhabited by giants, but rather regular-sized people. Perhaps this is true. However, other evidence shows us that there really were giants on the earth, such as this 9-foot-tall skeleton that was discovered in Turkey. It was so shocking that even Turkish officials admitted that they couldn't explain it. According to the Book of Enoch, the Anakim weren't the only ones who survived the flood. In fact, there were 3 groups of giants who escaped judgment, and they live among us to this very day. One of them are called the Rephaim, who the author claims are the spirits that cause sickness to afflict people. Not only that, but he also says that these giants control the spirits of the dead and use them as weapons against the living. Remember that these giants survived the flood by hiding among the humans, so if they could disguise themselves back then, who's to say they're not doing it again now? In the past, the sick and dying were often blamed on evil spirits, so perhaps there really were giants who controlled these spirits and used them to harm innocent people. The next group of giants are called the Amitha, and they are said to be responsible for natural disasters such as earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. If we go back to the days of Noah, when giant lizards and mammoths walked the earth, then it makes sense that there really were giants who caused earthquakes and other disasters. After all, these giants would have had to migrate somewhere else when the ice caps melted and sea levels rose. Now, the last group of giants are called the Zamzazim, and they are the ones who supposedly wrote down all the secrets of the universe. The author claims that they knew how to travel between dimensions, and that's why sometimes people see strange lights in the sky and wonder where they come from. He believed that they were watching us from another dimension, waiting for the perfect time to come back and rule the earth. But the Book of Enoch doesn't stop there. It also talks about a mysterious place where the giants kept their treasures. They called it Aklu, and it was filled with gold, silver, precious stones, and most importantly, secrets from another world. Here's what it says about this place. And they dug deep into the earth, making it like a vault, and they placed the bars of the gates into the ground, and they built lofty towers, reaching up to the vault of heaven, like the pillars of the clouds, and they entered in, going up in the air, and they ascended to heaven in these towers. Now, many believe that the author was talking about an underground base that the giants built to hide their treasure. But what if they were actually talking about portals that can transport us to other worlds? Is it possible that the giants used these portals to escape judgment, and that's how they survived? Maybe. But regardless of what you believe, there is no denying that the Book of Enoch contains information that the powers that be don't want you to know. That's why they did everything they could to cover it up, including banning it and killing those who read it. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty suspicious. I mean, why would they ban a book that's over 2,000 years old? Wouldn't that make it safe to read? Well, here's the problem. Mainstream scholars admit that the Book of Enoch was written before the time of Jesus, yet they claim that it was written after the time of Moses. This means that it was written between 300 and 100 BCE. But there is a problem with that because it claims that Adam and Eve really existed and that they lived at a time when the earth was formless and void. This contradicts the Big Bang Theory, which claims that the earth formed 13.8 billion years ago. So which one is true? Did the earth form billions of years ago, or was it created recently? The powers that be don't want you to know the answer to this question. But I'm not afraid to tell you the truth. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving over the surface of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Genesis chapter 1 verses 1, 3. This means that the earth wasn't always here. It was created, and it wasn't always how it is now. There were giants who walked the earth, but they are gone. This isn't a theory, it's a fact. And if you want to know more about it, then you need to read the Book of Enoch for yourself. So where can you get your hands on it? Unfortunately, I can't tell you that. The powers that be have done such a good job at covering it up that it is almost impossible to find a copy of it. That's why I encourage you to use the free resources available online. Just search for the Book of Enoch online and you'll find it. But be careful because not everyone who claims to have a copy does. Some are fake, and if you read one of them, then you'll never sleep again. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please share it with your friends and family. Also, don't forget to hit the like button because it helps me grow. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.